And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, round 5 of the 2021 NOSSCAR Super GT Series season, hosted right here on Gran Turismo Sport, and we are live from Autodrome, Lago Maggiore. 60-minute endurance race. These drivers are under the balance of performance settings, so these cars are very evenly matched and evenly tuned, and they're for each car they drop or raise the weight and horsepower of these cars to make them very competitive and balanced with each other. Toyota TS050s, Audi R18s, Toyota TS030s, a couple of Mazdas, Nissan Nismos, and we are green, folks. 60-minute endurance race of the GR1 prototype machines, and it's the Canadian phenom Ned on the pole for this one in his Porsche. Just behind him, Jesse Carlson is still side by side with Pac-Man trying to take the second and third positions away, as Bill Baldwin as well. Ty-Mac right there with them. Fluffy Unicorn, it's me, Mike T, and Bo the Racer rounding out the top 8, And now they work their way through the long swinging right-hander. Love this racetrack. So much character to it. Elevation changes, and there's a couple of turns that are very reminiscent to a NASCAR style turn, and it makes for a very fun and entertaining race. Ned leads, Jesse Carlson, Pac-Man, Bill Baldwin, Ty-Mac, your top 5. Fluffy Unicorn, Mike T, Bo the Racer, Ataxia, and Scorpion from France. They round out the rest of the top 10. So we work our way through the field just a little bit. There's B-Chem Dano running in the 11th position, making his debut here in the NOSSCAR Super GT Series with a classic Porsche race car here that he's brought out to the show. They're all following Ned, and it's a good battle here. The top 4 have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field just a little bit. Ty-Mac running in 5th, kind of on his own at this time. Fluffy Unicorn scored in 6th still, but it's all the top 4 cars working their way through here. And whoa, Ned really overdrove the long swinging turn there. He almost went completely off course. What a save by that driver. Most drivers would have pancaked the wall on the right side over there on the outside of the racetrack. And that was a job well done. Whew. And now Jesse Carlson trying to capitalize on what would be maybe some dirt and some marbles on the tires of Ned, and trying to get alongside him to challenge for the race lead while he can, and while he's got an advantage, and he does it. He takes the lead, and he's looking for his first career NOSSCAR Super GT Series win here today, and it's a good chance for him. Every race he brings a competitive car, competitive attitude, prepares and practices, and one of these days it's going to be his day. But Ned, a couple of turns later, gets a good run. He challenges Jesse Carlson and takes the lead back. The top 4 are all knotted up here at Autodrome Lago Maggiore. Ty-Mac killing a minor penalty here, running in 5th. Fluffy Unicorn gaining ground on him a little bit, scored in the 6th position. And then Ataxia, Scorpion, and Mike T are having a good battle here for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Ataxia is up a couple of spots. Scorpion, last time we checked on him, was running in the 10th position, and now Scorpion advances his way into 7th. Great start for him. Ataxia right there with him still. Mike T, and there's Bo the Racer. He was up a couple spots a moment ago. He's lost a few, but soldiering on still in the Nissan Nismo machine. Leaderboard on the left side for you guys to view as we follow along for the 60-minute endurance race. Ned still leading, again, top 4 in a group of their own. And then it's a 2-car tandem there of Ty-Mac and Fluffy Unicorn, scored in 5th and 6th. Pac-Man got a little bit wide there. It opened the door for Bill Baldwin just a little bit. Bill thought better of it at the last second, lifted a little bit, and got back in line behind him. Both of these drivers driving the Toyota TS050. Been teammates for a couple of seasons now. Pac-Man, the defending NOSSCAR GT Cup Series champion in the GR3 cars, and of course Bill Baldwin just behind him, the 2-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion, which is this series, 2-time and defending champ. And here we are for the 3rd annual season of it, and we're wondering if anybody's gonna, other than Bill Baldwin, is gonna be crowned a champion. Time will tell. Could be a three-peat for him this season. He's off to a good start. Ran good in the Rolex 8. Finished second behind Timac in that 8-hour event. And got himself good points for the start of the season. Timac's been winless ever since the Rolex 8 win, but if he was going to win any race, I bet you he'd pick that one. Fluffy Unicorn just behind him there. And it's a little ways back still, but Scorpion in that 2011 Audi R18 is slowly but surely working his way forward, and he's starting to gap the drivers behind him a little bit, maybe with the exception of Ataxia. Bo the Racer scored in the 9th position, has gained one of those spots back that he lost, and we have 2 cars off the racetrack. Dano is one of them. 13 drivers started the race itself, and we're down to 11. Still lean, mean, clean, and green since the start of this one. And we're riding along with the top 4. And the fact that they're battling so hard with each other, it's really allowing Timac and Fluffy Unicorn to really gain some ground here. And it's going to be a 6-car battle for the lead. And I would say just a couple of laps if this keeps up. These 60-minute endurance races, they open the door for strategy. We're going to watch this high-speed chess match play out and see when these drivers decide to come to pit road and get scheduled service. If you see them start to come in at about the 15-minute mark, then they're probably thinking a 3-stop strategy. If they're coming in at about the 20-minute mark, they might be thinking 2. And it's rare, but if you don't see them come in until the 30-minute mark, sometimes 28 to 32-minute mark, then they might be thinking fuel conservation and a one-stop strategy. A big wiggle there for Jesse Carlson, and then a big bump there from Pac-Man to Jesse Carlson. And the NOSSCAR officials really took a look at that, and a warning has been issued to the driver of the Toyota TS050 of Pac-Man, who now rides in the 2nd position after all of that. Bill Baldwin gained a position out of the deal, and he runs in 3rd. There's Fluffy running in 4th, and we'll keep our eye on Jesse Carlson to see if he can work his way back forward after making a mistake there in one of the turns and then getting a huge shove from Pac-Man right after. Top 6 all knotted up here. The battle for 7th on back, it belongs to Scorpion out of France at this time. And we're going to ride along a little bit here with your race leader. The high-speed chess match part of all of this racing is going to begin here very soon. Nobody has been to pit road for any type of service yet. And here comes Ned, and oh, heavy contact with Ned and Pac-Man. And Pac-Man went up and found the outside wall. Ned's going to take the lead. The officials have given Ned a warning. And oh my goodness, and that changes everything, because I'm pretty sure Pac-Man might have some damage now that he might need to repair on his first pit stop, and he might need to come to pit road sooner. And he's kind of feeling it out. You can tell it actually does look like it's pulling to the right a little bit, but if he can manage it, he can stay on the right strategy that he wants to be on. Time will tell. A moment ago, Fluffy lost the 5th position to Timac, but since then he's taken the 5th place position back. The top 6 are still all pretty much nose to tail and being paced by the Canadian driver of Ned. But again, contact was made. Warnings have been given to Ned and Pac-Man. The drivers running in 1st and 3rd. Bill Baldwin trying to keep his nose clean. Scored in 2nd. Has a good chance of winning this race, and he knows that. One of the experts here on Gran Turismo, enters the sport mode races all the time and enters the events such as the Manufacturer Series and things like that on here, and does very well. Podiums and wins frequently for that driver, as well as Ned and Pac-Man and Timac and even Steven, who's not here today. NASCAR Oof got 3 wins in a row when he entered the C-Class Manufacturer Series, so congratulations to him. All of these drivers very talented and all know what they're doing. Excuse me. We had a side-by-side battle for the lead a moment ago, and I didn't see exactly what happened, but Ned has a 1.3 second penalty, and it might have been him just trying to run a lower or higher line to keep his car from sliding into Bill. Officials are checking all of this out, and everything's good, everything's green, and no penalties being given, 2 warnings, and that's it. And it's Ned, Bill Baldwin, Pac-Man, Jesse Carlson, and Fluffy Unicorn, your top 5. Actually, Fluffy has now just taken the 4th position away. They're side by side as they go through turns 2 and 3. Beautiful paint job on Fluffy's car. They all are sporting very nice liveries here for this race. Jesse Carlson with a nice white and blue paint job. Fluffy, kind of the same, really, but with some orange on it, and it really meshes and flows together. And then, of course, Timex Canada paint job that was designed by former NOSSCAR driver Percussive. Did not drive that paint job for his 2021 Rolex 8 victory. Drove the 2011 Audi R18 instead, and had a very nice Sunoco blue and yellow and white paint job on that machine. The top 2 have separated themselves from the rest of the field a little bit here, and the battle for 3rd and 4th is really heating up between these drivers. Fluffy right there as well. Contact made between he and Jesse Carlson as they went through the swinging right-hander. Beautiful mountainside in the background, by the way, and yeah, that's a couple of times now Jesse's been used up in this race. And now a warning has been given to Fluffy, so 3 drivers have been given a warning here for minor contact in this race, and it doesn't take too many of those until you start receiving a penalty. Those drivers are Ned, Pac-Man, and Fluffy. They're scored in 1st, 3rd, and 4th, and a couple of cars are going to pit road, and it really got messy there. There was nearly contact made between a whole bunch of those drivers. Fluffy, Pac-Man, and Bill Baldwin on pit road for service. Scorpion runs in 7th. I don't think he's quite close enough to take all of these positions. He might take 1 or 2. Still a solid run for him. 13 drivers started this race, 10 cars left on the racetrack, and since those drivers pit at the 17-minute mark, along with Ataxia as well, they might be thinking a 3-stop strategy, but then again, they're kind of close to the 20-minute mark as well. They can go either way, I'm sure. There's Ned coming in for service. This is going to give the race lead over to Timac 11. Jesse Carlson right there with them. And we're approaching the 20-minute mark of this race, so you might see some of these drivers that have not been to pit road yet start making their way down pit road if they're going to be trying to do this on a 2-stop strategy. Scorpion scored in the 6th position. He was able to get in front of Pac-Man after these pit stops, but keep in mind, don't think Scorpion's been to pit road yet for service. We know Ataxia has, who scored in the 8th position. And you can see the map up in the top right corner, and whatever car you're riding with, when I flicker through, it'll be the red triangle instead of the blue ones, and you can kind of see where everybody is on the track map a little bit and get a good idea on how big of a gap these drivers have on the drivers they're competing with for position. Fluffy holding down the 3rd place position, and he was already on pit road, so he might be in position to be in the lead once all of this cycles through, and then it would be Ned scored in 2nd, and I believe Pac-Man would take over 3rd. Somehow Pac-Man was able to leapfrog Bill Baldwin during the sequence of pit stops. But then again, they might have to pit an extra time. I'm amazed that Timac has been able to continue on the track without using up his stuff, and his lap time's really suffering. And an unscheduled pit stop for Bill Baldwin, damage to that machine we're hearing. And he's going to bring it to pit road for repairs. Heartbreaker. 2-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion, and even the best of the best make a mistake every now and then. Watching a good battle here for 1st and 2nd. Timax opened it up by a couple of car lengths. Here's the battle for 3rd and 4th between Fluffy and Ned. Ned was on the pole for this race and has led the most laps so far since the drop of the green flag. How about Scorpion? Hasn't made too many NOSSCAR starts yet with us here on Gran Turismo Sport, but every time we see him, he's getting better and better. Checking in on the Triple Crown NOSSCAR winner from the NASCAR Heat Games, Jesse Carlson. He's won a NOSSCAR race in every series he's entered here in NOSSCAR, except for this one, the NOSSCAR Super GT Series, and every single time he comes, he has a chance to win. He's competitive, he's a top 3, top 5 car every race, so it's just a matter of when and not if. Very impressed with the newcomer of Fluffy. Drove that corner really wide there, and that's the final turn, but it's been a very good debut for him in this race. He's been in the top 5 for most of this race, top 6 all race long, and right now he's in position to take over the race lead once Ty-Mac and Jesse Carlson come in to make their scheduled pit stops, and they're going to go all the way to the 31-minute mark. Ty-Mac is, and he's on pit road for service. This gives the lead to Jesse Carlson. Wow, Ty-Mac was able to lead a number of laps there. The two Canadians have led the most laps in this race, and you gotta wonder who's gonna have the winning strategy. Ned is actually closing the gap on Jesse Carlson at this point. You saw Jesse wiggle a little bit and go wide on the racetrack that last time by through that section. He's okay, but cost him a little bit of time. Fluffy not too far behind these two either. A number of different strategies being deployed here at Autodrome Lago Maggiore, and honestly, it's been the story of NOSSCAR racing on Gran Turismo Sport. These 60-minute endurance races and the way that we have the fuel and tire wear set up, you want to make about 1 to 3 pit stops per race. Jesse Carlson comes to pit road for scheduled service. That's going to move Ned back into the race lead in his Porsche, and Pac-Man, last year's GT Cup champ in the GR3 cars, and second, this year's Rolex 8 winner for the Super GT class in that race. Ty-Mac scored in third. There's Jesse Carlson on the same strategy as Ty-Mac and looking to get up there and use that to his advantage. It's going to come down to who's got the right strategy and who can make the most speed on the tires and fuel that they're going to run for the stints that they're going to run. High-speed chess match, folks. I take notes during these broadcasts just to kind of keep track a little bit on when these drivers pit, what strategy they might be on, and Ned and Pac-Man are definitely on a 2-stop strategy, and you can see that Ned had a lot more fuel in the tank. And this gives the lead back to Ty-Mac 11, but not by much. You saw Ned come out of pit road right behind him, and honestly, this might be the race-winning move for Ned. He was able to save a lot of fuel in that second stint that he ran, and his pit stop was a considerable amount of time shorter. And now he is all over the back bumper of his Canadian buddy, Ty-Mac, and they're 1-2 right now. Ned's trying to put some heat in his tires. You can see him wiggling back there so they can start to grip a little bit. The cold tires, you can't take the track the way you want at first. So if Ty-Mac can hold on and keep Ned behind him, he's going to win this race. But the issue with that is he's got 20 minutes to do it. Jesse Carlson, NASCAR roof, the blue card there. He's on the same strategy as Ty-Mac, and he's trying to get around Ned. If the one-stop strategy is not the way to go, and if Fluffy can use the 4 fresher tires that he has, he might be able to run down the top 3 and challenge for a podium in his debut. Pac-Man just behind him is within striking distance of that as well. But Bill Baldwin, after having to make an extra pit stop to repair damage, is not necessarily up there close enough to capitalize on a one-stop strategy not working out for one of these drivers. And around went somebody over there, and it's Shadow, running in the 9th position. He's going to get it righted and going again, but a little bit of damage there from that incident. Keeping our eye on the battle for the lead and for the win here at Lago Maggiore. Timac on much older tires trying to hold off his Canadian buddy Ned for the win. He was able to hold him off for a while here, but Ned is going to challenge to the inside of this swinging right-hander, and he clears Timac to take the lead. Timac going with a one-stop strategy, as is the car right behind him, and that's NOSSCAR Oof. And it nearly paid off for them. It almost got them the win, and it's definitely helped their cause towards getting a podium finish. They have a big gap over the drivers running in 4th on back, and I don't know if they've got enough time to get up there and challenge for those positions. We can tell you as we advance our way towards the end, Jesse Carlson has found his way around Timac for the 3rd position. It's been a pretty clean race for the most part. About 4 drivers received a penalty, or not a penalty rather, but a warning for minor contact here and there. Ned was one of them. Pac-Man was one of them. Fluffy was one of them. Excuse me, so check that. 3 drivers were given a warning for contact, but ever since the warnings, it's been a very clean race. We're working lap 30 of this one. Ned is the race leader, and he's logging fast laps, but the problem is he's got Jesse Carlson all over the back bumper. Ned going for his first career NOSSCAR Super GT Series win. So is Jesse Carlson. The driver in 3rd has won before. The driver in 4th has won before. Bill Baldwin has definitely won before. The most wins all time. He scored in 5th. Fluffy in his debut scored in the 6th position. Scorpion in 7th. Ataxia in 8th. And they're all along for the ride with only under 5 minutes remaining in this race. And it's going to work out to be another 3 laps, I believe. And Ned's going to hold on. Or he very well might anyways. He's only got 5 more minutes to hold on. He's opened up the gap a little bit more, is why I assumed that he's going to hold on. He's starting to find that speed a little bit. His tires are much fresher the further they go into the run. Jesse's tires are getting worse and worse. And that's going to do it here for round 5 of the NOSSCAR Super GT Series. Ned finds victory lane for the first time here in his NOSSCAR Super GT Series career. It was a nail-biter for him all the way down to the end with the one-stop strategy of Jesse Carlson. Contact between Pac-Man and Timac will be reviewed, and the unofficial results are posted there on the left side of your screen. Fluffy in his debut is going to bring it home in the 6th position, and a great run for Scorpion out of France. He's going to hold on and finish in 7th. Once again, congratulations to Ned out of Canada and to Team Porsche. Good night, everybody, and we hope you enjoyed round 5 of the 2021 NOSSCAR Super GT Series season, hosted live from Autodrome Lago Maggiore on Gran Turismo Sport.